So Borderlands 4 is an interesting beast right now. And as I write this video and hold the privileged opportunity of having received a copy of the game from the developers, I catch myself being in a very peculiar spot right now. Because on one hand, I want to, hand on my heart, tell you all to go out and buy this game right now. Because it is, without a doubt, some of the most fun I have had in the Borderlands IP since Borderlands 2, and some of the most fun I've ever had in a single-player co-op first-person shooter. And that's not hyperbole, by the way. No sponsored bullshit or anything like that. I am genuinely having such a great bloody time with this game right now, and it's going to be my savior of boredom between now and Battlefield 6's release. However, and this is a big bloody however, by the way, I can't, in good conscience, come out with a video right now making such a recommendation when the game has had such a major issue with performance for so many people. A game that has, like many, fallen prey to the UE5 curse of being unoptimized for so many machines and consoles, and then also proceeding to hold such inconsistent performance for even the top-of-the-line rigs. So am I going to be able to tear the game a new one for such crappy performance? No, I'm not. Because I've also been one of the very lucky few who's been running the game on 1440p with DLSS and frame generation turned on, and I've never had a situation where I've dipped in the FPS to the point where it's noticeable. I feel like I've always been running at a constant 100 plus FPS in my entire time of playing the game so far. And while I know there's some stigma or stipulation around frame gen and DLSS, I don't mind having it on. But in saying that, by the same token, I'm also not going to be one of those guys who comes in over the top of everyone posting about the issues that they're having with the game and saying, but it works on my NASA PC level system. No, every time I see that, I just want to go, shut it. No, I acknowledge that this is a massive problem that is ruining the game for a lot of people, and that is really sad as well. I know some people are going to want me to talk about performance of the game in this video, but I can only speak to my personal experience, and I think there is likely a whole lot of other channels and creators out there who have done that side of the Borderlands 4 discussion a lot more justice than I ever could, given that I am so bloody lucky right now. Hey, sorry guys, post-edit Cammy here. The Borderlands team have actually just dropped a big old update to the game that was mainly focused on optimization, and based on the word on the street I've been hearing so far, it sounds like it's been a pretty big success for a lot of people. My frame rates have jumped up to a constant 140 constant FPS with everything rocking maximum graphics, if not close to. Mind you, I still have frame generation and DLSS going, but it honestly looks and plays great still. So if you guys were having issues and didn't immediately refund the game, maybe give it another whirl just to, have a look. It can't hurt, right? However, what I can say is that I also think it's a real big shame that the Borderlands discussion is so plagued by performance issues right now. Because god damn it guys, the underlying gameplay that is here is bloody incredible. I've been grinning ear to ear for the whole 12 hours that I've been playing this game, and spontaneously adding new streams into my schedule just so I can get more time with it, streaming it with you guys too. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and following us on Twitch so you don't miss out on the streams, by the way. It would be great to have you guys a part of the core community there. But yeah, I digress. If you were to take the performance issues aside, I actually think that we are witnessing not just a return to form for the Borderlands IP, but actually a significant improvement on its core gameplay loop, which I think was really important after what happened with, well, Borderlands 3 and also the Borderlands movie. Yes, if you forgot it existed too, don't worry, so did I. I think for a Borderlands game to be considered a success, it really needs to hit a few beats dead on and in tune. That being the combat and gunplay, the story, and of course, the looting experience. If any of these are absent or lacking, then you're immediately gonna lose some of that Borderlands magic that, when it lands, is some of the dumbest fun that you can have in gaming. And it really has landed here in a massive bloody way. To start off here, I have to say that the gunplay in this game is the best that we have ever seen in the series, bar none. Most, if not every weapon that I've picked up and used so far has held this, innate sense of kineticness to it. that really adds a sense of oomph to you clearing through endless waves of bloodthirsty psychos. And to have it so effectively translated across such a wide range of weapons that are available in the game, that's no small feat, and one that I think deserves some credit here. And to be fair, Borderlands has always been really good at this in its previous games, even in Borderlands 3, but they somehow found a way to keep improving on the gunplay to make it feel even cleaner and even more immersive, and that's pretty impressive here. The way they have designed the hit marker effects in this game as well also does a really good job at sort of sealing the deal there, adding the bow on top of the package. But as I said earlier, the big part of the Borderlands charm is also the humor it incorporates to, well, just about every element of its gameplay experience. From dialogue to character design to story and just to the general gameplay. Something that was horrifically missing in Borderlands 3. Well, not that it was missing in its entirety, it was just horribly delivered through some of the worst dialogue, characters, and villains that the franchise, and dare I say gaming, has ever seen. Seriously, fuck the twins, never again. However, thankfully, Borderlands 4 has stopped taking notes from cringe compilations and has returned to being a genuinely funny game again.
You might be thinking, what if this overloads Claptrap's circuits completely and he reverts back to factory default settings? And to that, I say, oh my god, I hadn't even considered that! Press the button quick before I change my mind! Don't leave me alone with my fears! Press it! The horror of anticipation is 1,000 times more excruciating than the inevitable pain will be!
That right there is one of the many examples of moments where I have been left in absolute stitches from this game. That's just Claptrap being, Claptrap, but all of the characters that I've met and interacted with so far have actually felt like, characters with established backstories, personalities, even intentions and motivations, which is great on its own, but then that makes their jokes, their humor, when they do come, feel far better placed because it comes from what seems believable for the character. It's not forced, it feels like it belongs with who these people are, which again is just such an upgrade from, well, angsty social media rebellious teens who had the depth of a puddle.
Well, not them. They're super dead. Ah.
And man, the writing of the side missions, if I can make one recommendation, it is don't skip on the side missions in this game because, oh my god, they are some of the most fun that I've had so far with this game. Just because I can't help myself here and I need to prove the point. Some slight side mission spoilers here, so use the timestamp on your screen now to skip ahead if you would prefer to do so. But so far, in this game, I have retrieved a bloke's missing runaway legs.
A crutch has flown off your legs, which you didn't want, right?
Time to put a lid on your adventures. Our new pal Winnie I. Peter to bail us out.
I played therapist to a sentient missile undergoing a bad case of performance anxiety and imposter syndrome.
Detonation sequence initiated. It's real. I am not undone.
Only for her to be a fucking firework. I helped the Moonshiner with their business, which essentially convinced me that this was just Texas in space.
Grandmammy tried to get Grandpappy to patent the Pappy's helper, but he was never a real entrepreneur. He wasn't no businessman.
And last but not least, I helped to get a domesticated sex club for threshers up and running for a dude who just seemed a little too into it.
The moment they hatch, they'll need as much meat as they can handle. Mind finding some while I warm the eggs with my body heat? It's absolutely essential I bond with them skin to shell. Read any domestication textbook.
And that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the amount of side mission content that is available in the game, alongside the main mission content, or the amount of stuff for you to do and explore organically within the game's open world. Which leads us on to our next point. This is the first time that the Borderlands universe has taken the shift from being a zoned experience to a complete open world. And I have to tell you guys that while it's a massive change for the franchise that may feel a bit alien for long-term fans, including myself, I have really liked the shift that they've made here. There are a ton of collectibles, challenges, world bosses, and world events, and even hideouts for you to discover and capture in your travels. There are actually times where it almost feels like Borderlands has taken a bit of an inspiration from Far Cry, giving you, little world tasks to do as you traverse the world, doing your missions and completing quests. But mixing that in with the quintessential Borderlands story and side missions has honestly made for such a unique, fresh coat of paint to this franchise. Around every corner, I catch myself getting sidetracked, checking out a collectible that has some funny dialogue in it, or, doing a wave horde mode in the form of the, propaganda towers that are littered around the map, or stumbling across a world boss that I haven't fought yet. Again, the amount of uniqueness in the content is really refreshing, and it just adds that fresh coat of paint to the Borderlands IP. And further to that, one of the ways they have really made the game sing its songs in the open world format is through all of the movement options that have been added to the game given to you to traverse the map. A big change this time around is that you no longer need to find a catch-a-ride station to summon a vehicle. You have what is essentially a pocket scooter available to you 24/7, and you just press a button, and if you're in an open world area that can support vehicles, boom, you're traveling quick now. And given that they have gone for the open world design this time around, it really does sort of tend to help, encourage organic exploration of the world rather than leaning too heavily into fast travel. I feel like if you lost your vehicle at an inopportune time and you had to go back to a catch-a-ride station, everyone would just be resorting to fast travel mechanics. This fixes that, and I really like it. But there's also been additions in the way of a sort of zipline grapple hook that you can use on certain parts of the map. You can now dash if you're airborne, and there's now also a double jump and just simple vault mechanic as well. And all of this has applications both in combat, but also just in general map traversal. There's a bunch of jumping puzzles and stuff like that that I've come across that are actually really well designed and leverage all of the game's different movement tech and movement mechanics. So that's also been a really welcome addition, and it's really modernized the Borderlands IP for me as well, taking a bit of the clunk out of the mix. But there is, of course, one final question to answer here for a looter shooter. Just how is the loot and how is the progression? Does Borderlands have a lot of guns here, and is it entertaining working your way through the rarities? The answer to that, guys, is yes. The loot in this game is bloody fantastic. The kind of weapon variety that is in here, and the fact that the weapon variety you get is incrementally increasing in power as you progress through the levels and the world, has been so much fun to navigate. Every time I get a big loot drop, I'm basically swapping out weapons and trying something new. I'm not really sticking with one gun for a long period of time, and that has been a welcome change from Borderlands 3, which was dropping legendaries at an exorbitant rate. In Borderlands 3, you would get a legendary in the really early game, and that was your weapon for pretty much a lot of your play session until you found another legendary. Now, mind you, that came across pretty quickly, but it basically just really spiked into you hunting for legendaries all the time. Whereas in Borderlands 4 here, I've been replacing purple gear with green gear and blue gear with purple gear. The power spikes haven't necessarily come exclusively by rarity, but by me just unlocking higher level weapons that have, the odd occasional jump in performance. The blue and purple gear already feels unique, and it has unique modifiers that makes it feel really interesting to pick up and use. And I will say as well, 12 hours into the game, I've not seen a single legendary, and I think that's great. Legendary gear should be exactly that. It should be legendary, hard to find, something that you can't just pick up and grab on a whim. And I know that when I do find my first legendary, it's going to feel incredible. It's going to feel like a big power spike that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and that is exactly how it should feel. Look, ultimately guys, this video is already getting lengthy. Long and short of it is that I think Borderlands 4 is everything that this series needed and more. I think the innovations that have been made here stay true to what the core of Borderlands is, but it takes it to a new level and modernizes it to modern day standards of gameplay loop. I really do think that we are in contention here for the best Borderlands game of the franchise. Now that is a really high bar to set here, given that Borderlands 2 is so revered. But that is going to be really dependent on my later hours into the game, getting into the end game, trying out all the story missions, seeing how the story plays, see what the rest of the humor is like. But we are on track here for a potential winner, a big winner, especially if Gearbox can get these performance issues sorted and allow more people to come in and properly enjoy the game, because right now it's a bit of a shame that so many people have been, quite frankly, neutered from enjoying what is otherwise, in my view, a potential Game of the Year contender. But anyway, I've yapped on long enough. You guys have got everything you need to know about Borderlands 4. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you guys are enjoying the game right now. Do you think it's on track to be a great title, or have the performance issues completely neutered your potential enjoyment of it? Let me know. Very keen to hear your thoughts, guys. If you enjoyed this content and you're new to the channel, be sure to backhand that subscribe button and be sure to turn on your notification bell. We're doing both a lot of Borderlands stuff, but also a lot of Battlefield stuff in the near future. So if you're a first-person shooter fan, this is the place to be. But I'll stop yapping now, guys. It's been a pleasure. I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care, stay safe, and look after yourself. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.